Hey, if you want to throw everything into the hopper, I suppose we could because it's a vast subject. But I'll try and condense it down about when we talk about possession, demonic possession, okay? And the word possessive, or another word that I heard Yellow Rose for Texas use one time, covet. We covet it, right? Ooh, I want that. You're mine, right? Your energy is mine. Because I've experienced that. Remember, I've shared that in the past about relationships that I've had with others that want to heal, right? I want your energy, right? And what it means to have an attachment. I call them feeder lines. You could also call those implants, right? To run machines, run their stuff, right? And in this case, when I'm referring to possession, okay, or the word possessive, like you're my property, you belong to me, your energy is exclusively mine, and you can tie that directly into the marriage foundation, not related to the founders, by the way, right? Between a male, right, a plug-in, right, and then a socket, right? You know, like a socket wrench. Put a wrench, right? I saw a couple of identities on 2 pineapples, and the identity's got a wrench bot. You see the wrench and then a bot. It says wrench bots. And it reminds me of the 1960s when all the protests were going on. And I can't remember his name, bless his heart, who was talking about. And he, as I remember, it was like the head of the student body at UC Berkeley. And he said, we're going to be the wrench that we're going to throw into the machinery of the war machine, the AI war machine, the AI war gamers, right? Which is competition, right? Gaming for energy, gaming for numbers, random number counters, right? Run the numbers up, just like they do in an NBA basketball. And everything's set to a clock cycles, atom cycles, right? As a matter of fact, Annie Moreno, you might actually even be able to couple the headache we're experiencing this morning, okay, to the NBA game last night, where the Lakers were swept 4-0. So they were down 3 games. So you'd have to do an extrapolation of all that on how many units of energy are tied into running the machines, the cyborgs, what have you, right, that play basketball. And all the money, all the electrons that are used, right, to play those games. And the numbers that are associated between the torque differentials be between 2 magnets on the planet. Because of what happened last night. Remember, there's a lot of folks. Remember who runs the gambling casinos, right? Boston Celtics, Irish Mob, right? And they're playing tonight. They're playing right now, as a matter of fact. They were down 3-0. 3, the number 3, 333, negative 333, right? Complex number space. So I was reminded, for example, just to share with you how I experienced being me in some relations that I've had, and how this is really sort of a challenging environment, so to speak, because of the institutional programming of how people define the program that they run by the relationships that we have, and how those relationships work between power strips, the film strip, the biofilm strip, right, of what we experience in the mirror, the movie we're running as actors on the stage. Remember Shakespeare? And so you can see how this is when it comes to putting a ring of Saturn on a girl's left hand, right, versus the right hand. And that's the male saying that the left hand that represents your left hand now belongs to me. You belong to me. See, and then you go through the ritual, you know, till death do us part, right? Which means we're going to stay together no matter what, right? In other words, I could be a vampire and you wouldn't know it because I'm really good at masquerading, right? Devious, deceitful, because I took over that vehicle and you don't know that. See? But we're going to use you as a source of energy. And you think this is an institution of marriage and we're going to get married and live for the next 45 years. And what that girl doesn't know, that she becomes a source of energy to run machines. Okay? So when you're in the healing business and the relationships that I had, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 that I can remember. There wasn't very many. I haven't been with a female in many years. Okay. And the last one I was with, I basically provided a safe place for her to heal, even though her son was a demon, tried to kill me on at least one occasion that I can remember. Okay. And that's a whole story just to hear what he was doing while I was trying to provide a safe place with her. Because what it really boiled down to, you're not taking my energy away. I feed on my mother. And so this is sort of how it was being played. I tried to get her out of Arkansas and up into the redwoods, into magic country, right? And so you can imagine what that does to somebody that's feeding on the female energy, particularly when she had Cherokee blood in her, because she was running the positive side of things, if you will. She had a heart of gold on her. Extremely gifted with arts and crafts and being extremely creative. She was a very peaceful girl. But I realized what that demon was doing, even though this is her son. Her son used to beat her up whenever her mother wouldn't give him money. That's right. Energy. That's possession. That's demonic possession. He was possessed. Now he's wanting to possess another being for their energy. So this is why this is tied to the last video about getting a message about leave her energy alone. See? That energy, that's how possessors communicate to others. Okay? Why, when I was growing up as a child, okay, don't look at my girlfriend, right? I'll beat you up. That energy is mine, belongs to me. You're my property. Right? So the way that I always have translated this, you can see how this is difficult when I was about 12 years old. And I had, as you're getting older into your puberty years, and there was a young girl that I liked, and she liked me, and we decided to go steady. Remember what it was like to go steady? So we were on the phone with each other at night, and we were excited, talking to each other, getting to know one another and all this, right? So I had written her a letter and signed it, "Will love you forever and always." And the way that my L's are like this, if you can see that in a lot of the guardian material language of using cursor, the language of how moving curved space vectors and the flow of spiritual energy to communicate what love is, right? And so she asked me, do you love all girls that way? And I said, yes. Now that's going to be difficult for her to translate when she understands when you're connected to an eternal star, which is an eternal love vibration, and you're androgynous and an oversoul polarity integrator. That means equal distribution, which is an equilibrium state. That means that everything that is in creation that began out of what love is loved equally across the entire consciousness terrain, wherever we are. Okay? So what that meant was, and I told a girl that I had a relationship with, and I thought we might be able to have children together, even though she had already been divorced from a guy who was an alcoholic, right? And I let her know that I'm not a possessive type. You are always free to do whatever you want to do. Okay? Which means if you decide you want to go out and be with another guy, that's a decision that you make. right? That's not a decision that I make. But I don't control your energy, and I don't have a leash on what you do with your energy. If you choose to fly out of the cage, to go be with whoever you want to be, that is your responsibility. You have to take accountability and self-responsibility for the choices that you make, because you're going to experience the result in your mirror and what it does to your energy, your macabre. Okay? So what that means is that I will love you the same way I do that I love everything, whether it's a giraffe, whether it's a dog, whether it's a cat, whether it's a fish, whether it's clouds, whether it's a river, whether it's another star. Okay? And so you can understand how, when you're in this system, how tricky that is to navigate and negotiate when we communicate. Because you realize that because so many beings have yet to heal, and as a result of that, the amount of resistance that they have to experience that, where they're experiencing what I'm experiencing, which is being equal unto all they're giving love to, which means now they're an accelerator and not an inverter. Or, if you will, they live in fear of experiencing eternal love, because you have to break through what's held in circuits and cellular memories related to that bloodline. And because we're all related as relatives, that means everything that is connected, that we can experience any electrical resistance to experience the founders, eternal love, creation spheres. So you get an idea sort of at the level that we operate at, based on the equal distribution, right, of the acceleration of electrons. So nobody's experiencing any loss of electrons. So that every unit of consciousness is experiencing eternity. Everything is being loved. They are all experiencing love. That's a universe that is in love with itself, because it's being loved by the first star. So we're all connected to experience eternal love through our own hearts and souls. So that's why it's like, you are what I am that I'm giving love to. So that's everything in the mirror, which means that's everything that I am, which is what love is. It goes on forever, gifting love energy. So when you see, I use my right hand like a claw, or like a leash line, a fishing pole, throw it out. You can fly fish, or you can throw the sinker up there, casting the line, which is like casting a spell. Put a spell on it, right? Curse that being, right? And so that's what it is. Hey, I hooked one, I got one, reel it in. Reel to reel. Binary AI war games. Reel that fish in. Reel that battery in. And hold it as a battery slave to feed on. Run the machines. Right? You're a source of energy. So everything is up for grabs. Right? Anything that represents energy, till it starts feeding on its reserves. And once it's feeding on its reserves, it's cannibalizing. Right? Yeah, it's cannibalizing everything. And that's known as a killing field. Which means the planet becomes a killing field. Killing the planet to turn it into a dead planet. Okay? A dead-like planet. There isn't anything alive around here anymore. And spirit is experiencing real living light that goes on forever, gifting electrons. It's not experiencing any love. There is no love left on the planet. That's a dead planet. That's a planet that goes into free fall and implodes because it can't restore itself. This planet can. That's why it was used as a healing center, obviously. So imagine that a hospital ship, a healing center, becomes a target. So it's self-evident why that would be, right? Because it means that a lot of light came in here and wished to do that. So yeah, they were tracking us coming in here, right? the indigos and everything else that came in here in order to perform missions and do jobs, right? Salvage contracts, all that stuff. So I realized that, it's funny how when you graph this kind of stuff across the planetary consciousness terrain, they're like bumps in the road, hiccups. So we're experiencing a couple of hiccups here. I know that because of what I experience, by messages that I get, and what I experience by virtue of who we're all connected with, what it feels like from day to day, moment to moment, hour to hour, throughout the course of a day. Sun up, sun down.